And if it's okay with you, Jennifer, we're also going to
Oh,
record this
yeah, that's
session.
fine.
Yeah, one
Got
moment.
it.
Having a little bit of technical difficulties here, but it should sort itself out in a second. And I'll start the recording and I would take your question.
All right. Well, and I'll do a quick introduction. Ben is works for SCM Globe. Very able person, quite frankly. I've not seen your resume. Michael, Hugo, Jennifer, or Grace. Grace, I'm glad to see that you're in here. I can't hear you quite yet, but anyway, Jennifer's gone ahead and muted herself, and you can stay unmuted if you want, if you don't have any background noise. The purpose of tonight's session is really to answer your questions. That's the primary focus. I'm Frank Scheer, and been through this drill a few times. Where the purpose of Cincinnati Seasonings is to illustrate the basic principles of a supply chain. It's purposely a very, very simplified supply chain with one factory, one distribution center, um, some retail stores, and basically one product. There's not many real life companies that will operate with just one product, a few retail stores, and a factory. So, what we're going to do, this is really your session, not so much ours. If you have questions, we want to entertain them. Otherwise, I'm going to ask Ben to do about three things during the course of this presentation. Number one, want to just show how you go into the SCM Globe library and find Cincinnati Seasonings, and then open up that model, save it to your portfolio, and or your portion of a login area, and how you basically start the simulation. Uh, and then run it until it stops the first time. And then for this project one, the bottom line is you're just going to throw money at the problem. We're not concerned with you trying to cut cost or anything else. The whole purpose in the background is just to familiarize you with the modeling software. And the best way to do that is just have it, it'll stop about 4 or 5 times as it's currently designed. And it stops because it runs out of product or it runs out of space, usually, the main reasons. And then there's some basic ways in which you can solve that to restart it and then move forward. When you get to 30 days or anything beyond 30 days, then you have achieved what you need to do for project one. So then the second thing that I'll ask Ben to do as we get down the road is to how you export the data as a CSV file, and trim off anything more than 30 days if you happen to run it for more than 30 days, and then import it into a template. And that is essentially it. And then also how you can create a save state, because what you start with, end with at the end of project one begins with what you use for project two. So you want to save whatever it is, the save state. And then if you want to share that with your other team members, it creates a JSON file, .json, that you can attach to an email, and then that person who receives it can upload it to their folder and then run it. With that, I'm going to close my mouth, which my first grade teacher wanted me to do by putting Scotch tape over my mouth. And I will let Ben, first of all, we'll ask Grace and Jennifer, were you all able to actually log in successfully? And if you were able to log in, you can come off mute. Were you all able to actually start the simulation and maybe make some progress? Grace,
Yeah.
you go first.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was able to. I was able to manipulate the data and I was able to like tweak the storage space and the capacity that was needed. But so far I've had a few error messages, but I was able to find solution to those errors.
Okay, well, we'll talk about those, and the error messages are the normal part of the learning process for how this software works. Once you get over those hurdles, you'll be fine. Jennifer, the only reason why I didn't call on you first is I'm just going in alphabetical order as I typically do. So Jennifer, you're next, and the only other one, you can come off mute.
Okay,
Were you
sure.
able to start it?
Yes, so I was able to start it, but I keep getting stuck at the routes. So, I'm trying to follow the instructions and create a route, but I don't know if I'm doing it correctly, so I can't seem to add a route. Is there a way you could show us how to do that through this platform?
Okay. What we'll do is we'll start from the top, but I'll ask Ben just to spend some time showing how to add a route. That's going to be more important when you get to project two, because most of the solutions that you can take care of for project one is by seeing where the simulation stopped. It either runs out of product or it runs out of space and just increasing the space, or the delivery of product is usually the easiest way to get that going and to continue running. But Ben, I'll turn it over to you. Just it looks like they've been able to go ahead and show how to find the file, but go ahead and do that anyway. Just since we're recording this, I want to make sure that this is in the recording to have anybody else who's watching the video that can't attend tonight sort of start from the beginning.
Yeah, no problem. So just a quick introduction. My name is Ben. I work for SCM Globe. I'm the customer service manager. And I'll go over how to just import the simulation and a couple of things that you can do with it. So once you log in, after you click View Library on the right top side of your screen, you can click on Import. Next to Cincinnati Seasonings, it's the first one on this table that we have over here. You can give it a name, and then you can just click on Save, and then it's saved. Can you see my screen, by the way, those who are here?
Yes,
Okay,
your screen
Yes.
is very clear.
Yes, I can.
all right. Then you can go back to My Account, and you can see it in the table that you have in My Account. I named it Q&A or Q or A, and it's right here. So then you can click on Edit and start working. It's that simple. So let's start working. I clicked on Edit. It's now going to open it. All right, and this is the model. This is what it looks like. Now most of the people in this class, to my understanding, have already started working with this. So I'm just gonna go through the first question on how to add a route. So it's very simple. You have to be clicked on the correct vehicle to add a route first. So, for example, if I click on Seasonings Factory, then it's gonna show me the vehicles for, hold on, it's a little slow, having a little bit of technical difficulties. My computer decided that it's gonna be very slow right now. So it's gonna load it, and then I'm gonna click on vehicle. And after I click on vehicle, that's when I can add a route, but I cannot add a route until I'm clicked on the vehicle. So
Do you see that, Jennifer?
Yeah, I did. I actually did get to the vehicle portion, and then when I try to add a route, that's when I get stuck.
so after you click on the vehicle,
Huh.
it needs to show that you clicked on the vehicle next to the vehicle.
Sure.
And if it does, and you click on routes, then you can add a route. What happens when you try to do that?
Sorry, I'm trying to share,
Try
add
to
a
do it in the
route.
background.
Yeah, I'm trying to do it in the background. So I just click new from there and then
So you have
name
to
the
click
route?
on yeah, you have to click on routes before you click on new.
I'll tell you what, Ben, have you enabled screen sharing?
Yeah, I can actually just show you how to do it right now.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
well, I was going to
probably better.
say, sometimes you can also let Jennifer show what she's doing and then let her know whether it's doing it right or wrong, but you go ahead and show what to do.
So you can see on my screen right now, I clicked on Seasonings DC, then I clicked on truck number 4, then I
Mhm.
clicked on routes. So it's very important that you click on routes,
Yep.
and then you can click on new.
Okay, I did that. Sure.
And what happens when you did that?
So the new screen pops up and then you just type in the route that you want to take, I guess, from
So yeah, let me open that up. Let me delete this. Okay, and add a new one. Wait, gotta click on a truck first. Which one did I just delete? Oh, it's being a little bit slow. But yeah, as soon as it loads up, you can just you can select a vehicle here, no routes, new. So you name your route, call it,
Mhm.
and then you choose your stops. So you can choose one stop, you can choose multiple stops. So let's say I want to stop in Indianapolis store. So I chose Indianapolis store, and then we can click on add stop to route. Then we got our stop here, right? But we don't have our product here. So we have to add our product as well. So then you
Oh,
click,
that's probably where I keep getting stuck.
that's probably where. So if you add, make sure that you click on that you add a number to the right field, because delivery quantity is the amount of product that gets dropped off at the destination, whereas pickup quantity is the amount of product that gets picked up from the destination or from the,
Okay.
all right? Are there any other questions?
I think that was where I kept getting
Okay.
stuck.
All right,
But the delivery quantity, I would have to choose that based off, um,
So you're capped, right? Because the truck has a maximum amount of product based on its weight and volume
okay.
capacity. So you're
Oh,
capped.
I see. Okay.
So you have to choose the amount of product that would be sufficient for this facility without overflowing it. So you
Oh, I see. Okay.
have to adjust it a couple of times,
Okay, that was helpful. Thank you.
of course.
okay, Ben, what I suggest you do is go ahead and you've opened the simulation. And before you added a route, you had it queued up where you could actually just run it and see where it stops.
Yeah,
And
let me import it again because
okay,
I just
you made a change. Okay.
I deleted a route and that might make a little bit of a problem.
Indeed it could.
So this
And
is
that's underlines one thing, that if you make a major change, before you make a major change, you should create a save state for yourself, because once you commit a change, and if you haven't saved it previously, it's not backward compatible. So before you make any major change, make sure that you've saved something to your library. That way, if you don't like what you've done, then you can go back and forget about that and reopen what you had previously saved. So,
well, this is the simulation tab that I just opened. I did it by clicking on simulation here above entities underneath the name. It opens a second tab. You're going to have 2 tabs. That's fine. I'm just going to run it. So I'll click on play. And it's running right now. And it's going to stop when I get my first error. There it is. It's stopped.
And because there's not enough storage capacity, and what happens is then it opens up and shows you a chart.
Yeah, it shows you a chart over here, and it also shows you a table with the exact numbers. So you can see that we have 160 units of product in a facility that can only handle 150. So we have a problem here. And on the chart, it tells you how much product did you have on a given facility at a given day. So right now, I'm looking at the factory, and we can say that at the end of day 0, we had 1,020 units of product. At the end of day 1, we had 1,280, and at the end of day 2, we had 1,540. But we can see that for each facility. So each facility has an individual graph. They all end at the same day, obviously, because they show you the model that you just ran. But they have different numbers for the quantity that was in the facility at the end of the day.
An important thing to notice about the graphs is they're trending upward or trending downward. And if it's trending downward, then that means you're going to run out of product. And if it's trending upward, that means that you're adding product to the facility faster than you're able to sell it. So the ideal situation, when you get to project 3, that is where you're going to try to make the system more efficient. And one of the things you want to try to look at is look at your charts. If you can get the lines or the graphs so that the run is basically straight across, not running upwards or downwards, that's going to be the best possible solution that you can reach.
Correct. Now, when you do run it for 30 days, which I haven't, I only ran it for 2 days. Once your simulation stops, you can just click on export results to Excel. It only shows up after your simulation stops. So either you stop it manually or it stops because there's an error. There's going to be errors past 30 days. There's going to be errors indefinitely. Unless you manage to very, very cleverly run it to a point where it just runs smoothly forever. But that's very, very difficult to do. So eventually there's going to be an error. So once the simulation stops, you're going to get this option here of export results to Excel. When you click on it, it's going to download an Excel sheet with just raw data. I'll show you what it looks like right now. This is what it looks like after 30 days. So I have 30 days of on hand. This is how much product was in the facility each day. We have a demand report. Obviously, that's the same for each day. We have a production report. Again, the same for each day because we set it. We chose what the production per day is. We have an in report, an out report, product coming in, product going out, and we have some costs. But this is really a lot of data that might be very useful for a computer, but for us, it just looks like a bunch of numbers. And before I show you what actually to do with this, you will probably not run this for just 30 days. It's probably going to stop after 30 days. So if it says day 31 in here, all you want to do is just delete the rows that are past day 30 for each of those. So if it says day 31, you delete that. If it says day 35, you delete all the days, 35, 34, 33, 32, 31, until you only have day 30 for each of those. You never want to see past day 30, so just delete those rows. All right.
And the reason why we use 30 days is because that's pretty much the planning horizon that most logistics managers use. Because there's seasonality, there's all sorts of changes potentially in demand that suddenly we might have a supply chain snag. You have to go back in and redesign your network a little bit. So 30 days is typically if you in your career are encountering a supply chain, most of the time the planning horizon is about 30 days. If you can work it for 30 days, that's fine. There's no point. You don't get extra credit for running it more than 30 days. That's how we keep this project manageable so that you're not spending the rest of your academic career trying to just keep on running this simulation forever. Only have to get to 30 days. Ben, back to you.
Now, once you got it to run for 30 days and you trimmed off the extra days and you have this very messy, just raw data report, what you will do is you will go to our website and you can just search on Google SCM Globe analyzing simulation data. That's the page you want to land on. It'll be the first one. And you have to scroll down here, all the way down to where it says download three store monthly P&L report template. So again, you would go to analyzing simulation data on SCM Globe. You would scroll down until it says download 3-store monthly P&L reporting template. You'll click on this and it'll open a view only Google Sheets. This is the one that's open right now. You're going to have 2 sheets on it. So one of them is going to be the P&L report. The other one is going to be the simulation data that you're looking at right now. You can just Control A this, the simulation data, not the P&L report. So make sure you're on the right sheet. So on the simulation data sheet, you can just click Control A. I'm not sure what it is on Macs. I never had a Mac. Probably Command A, I suppose. And you're just gonna delete everything. So have it as an empty report and copy the data that you have and paste it here instead. After you paste it here, you're gonna get a report on the other sheet, on the P&L report. So you're gonna get a report that shows you how much your profit margin is, how much your costs is, how much are you spending on transportation versus how much are you spending on operations and facilities, how much did you sell, information about each facility. And this is really what you want. This is very organized compared to the other data that you received before that was very raw. This is how you do this, but it only works if you have 30 days on your simulation data. So you have to make sure that you trim it correctly. Just delete any rows of excess of 30 days.
Okay, let me just interject 2 things. First of all, for project 1, where it shows that gross profit is being negative 19.75%, you're going to be, as part of project 1, preparing a report back to the management of Cincinnati Seasonings. And it's going to be important for your report that you've done the steps that we've talked about, that you've got the simulation running for 30 days, and then you're importing the data into the profit and loss spreadsheet or the template. And then you were able to say with authority and backup data, because that's why we're running this simulation, is the data is what is guiding business decisions. You're able to, in your report, say you're able to state what the gross profit was, and that's going to be your measure for improvement for the future. When you get to project 2 or project 3, you're going to do the same thing, and you're going to be comparing it to what you had in week 1, project 1, Uh, and that's really the comparison you make. The second thing I want to mention is that when you get to project 2 and you've added a couple more stores, and you may have also added another distribution center, you may or may not have done that, or may not do that, because that's still in the future for you. You are going to need to adjust the template by adding columns for some additional stores. So, or yeah, columns for where it says like Louisville store, Indianapolis store, Fort Wayne store, you'll need to add 2 more columns, H and I, and label it for the stores that you've created. And then that way, then you copy the fields with the formulas and put them into those 2 fields. And that will be the way that you're able to import that. So, anyway, don't underestimate the importance of the profit and loss statement, because I've had students in previous classes that will work on reports and submit project outcomes. If you don't have the profit and loss statement that shows a percentage profit or a percentage loss, then you're still coming up short, because that is exactly what management in your career is going to be focusing on, not some other aspects of what you've accomplished in the simulation. Back to you, Ben.
I think that's about it with the P&L report. Does anyone have any questions about this?
Grace or Jennifer?
No, this was very helpful though. Thank you.
I
Okay.
appreciate-
Same here.
Thank you.
So I guess you can just turn to how you create a JSON file.
Yeah,
And the important thing about a JSON file is that it only runs in SCM Globe. You cannot, a lot of times you get a file that you put onto an attachment of an email, and you get the email and you double click on that attachment and it opens right up and does magical things. You're going to, if you get a JSON file, .json, you're going to need to save it to your hard drive and then upload it into your SCM Globe account, and then you'll be able to run it. So that's what I'm asking Ben to sort of demonstrate now, how you create a JSON file, how you share it, and then how you can open it.
yeah, creating a JSON file is very, very simple. So first of all, you have to create a save state. All you have to do is just click on save. Click on save. Save. Saved it. Save. And I saved it. And if I scroll down to save states, you'll see that the first line is saved it, which I just did. Now I can download it. So if I download it, it just downloaded, and you can see saved it.json. So that's all it is. It's very, very simple. You can send this file to anyone you want. You can email it. It's very, very it's not a very big file. And then let's say you received one of those over email. You can just drag it and drop it over here. Let's see. No, there it is. That's it. File upload complete. So now I got 2 saved it, except one of them is all lowercase. But it's still a saved state. So I have to move it back to my library. So all I do is click restore. And I got saved it, which I didn't before. That's all it is. It's very, very simple. So
And then you go through the same steps of running the simulation and so on like that. So in your teams, one of the things that I'm expecting each team member to do is to actually work on the simulation. Then if you want to share your version of your solution with other team members, you can do it. You can post it. If you run into a technical problem and it doesn't work, you can send it to me. If looks like it's something that's a true technical problem after you've checked the known bugs in the SCM Globe user manual, then that's something that Ben or other staff at SCM Globe can work with and try to figure out what is the issue and whether indeed if it is a problem or if it's just something else that you're doing. But this is the main way. The idea is if you have, most teams have 3 people. If the 3 people each are individually doing this, although you can collaborate, you can talk to each other if you want, you can share it, but I think you get the most learning experience if you do it individually, get it to where it runs for 30 days and then share your solution with the other team members. And then the reason is that every single person that ever runs SCM Globe is going to use different tactics to try to move the simulation forward. So when you get to the end of 30 days, every solution is going to be different. And there's no bad one, there's no best one, except that if you have for your team, one of them has a lower amount of loss, because no matter what you do, unless you are extremely beyond the capabilities of ACM 640, chances are you are not going to find a solution with just 3 stores that's a positive net income. I won't say it's one of those things, never say never, but you can prove it to me. And so you're going to find losses. Don't let that dishearten you. But within your team, if you see where team member came up with a loss of minus 18%, somebody else came up with minus 22, and then somebody else came up with minus 20, then what you can do is you can, for the purpose of Project 1 report, use the one that's best, and the other team members can also then save the JSON files. And when you get to Project 2, everybody has the same starting point, even if it's not the one that they personally ended with. So that sort of keeps your teammates in sync with you, or you are in sync with your teammates. So that's the basic strategy. And the other thing that I'm going to mention to you is the whole purpose of the simulation. In your career, you're going to run into computer models that you have never seen before. I don't care where you go in your career, what company you work for, or what federal agency, or what part of the military you work into. There's a new model being, or new simulation system, or new logistics system being developed almost every day. So you're going to run into something new. There is going to be the need in your career to be able to go into a user manual. You can work with and collaborate with your other team members, but it's pulling up your own bootstraps, if you will, trying to learn a system that you've never experienced before. So that in the background is part of the purpose for having this simulation in ACM 640, is so that you're being exposed to something new. You've never seen it before. In the course of 10 weeks, you're going to develop some proficiency to be able to actually use it individually as well as part of a team. And that's modeling and preparing you for success in your career. So that is pretty much what we wanted to accomplish tonight. The SCM Globe manual is its own textbook, if you will, of supply chain management. You can go in there. There's a wealth of information. There's many other models that we are not using in ACM 640 that are much more embracing of a complete logistic system. They're more complex. One of them is called collaborative logistics, where you have like two candy companies and they are learning, even though they're competitors, they don't necessarily compete in exactly the same markets. And there's cost sharing that they can do by sharing facilities and sharing transportation. And this is something that you'll encounter in the course of your career, potentially, depending upon exactly where you go in your career. So, there's a lot in the user manual, and it's available right there at the blue help button. You click on that, it opens up the manual. You can have that open as a second screen and be switching back and forth to the extent that you need to. Before you start asking questions of your teammates or asking questions of me, in particular, there's the FAQs and then the known bugs. If you think you've got a technical problem, be sure to look at what the known bugs are, because there are a few, just as there are in any simulation or any actual software. There are some things that the systems developers know are not working quite right and can throw you for a loop if you don't know that they're already working on a solution or at least been identified. So the FAQs, you spend time reading the 7 frequently asked questions, and you will learn a lot. If you want more video than what we've talked about tonight, we took a session that very similar to the one that we've just completed, and divvied up the portions of the video for subtopics such as adding capacity, adding routes, adding vehicles, reducing costs and so on like that. And each of those are in those short videos that can help you step by step get to a better solution. So Grace and Jennifer, with Grace being with a last name that begins with an A. Grace, do you have any further questions?
Not at this moment.
Okay, all right. I'll work with you with any other questions do arise after this. Of course, there's going to be another session tomorrow night that if something happens in the course of the next 12 to 14 hours, and you decide you want to tune back in and ask a question, then you're welcome to. But you'll find that this user guide is your best friend. Jennifer, do you have any further questions?
No, thank you for providing this training or simulation.
All right. The other thing that I want to mention is that I am willing to, if you set up a Zoom meeting with your team members or individually, that you have specific questions, whether it's about the simulation or about supply chain, think of it as a private tutorial session. I will be glad to tune in to a session that you set up, much like we've done. Take as long or as little time as we need to go through and discuss your topics or give you a mini lecture. I'm not much for lectures. I've got PowerPoint slides galore in the e-readings that are actually prepared presentations that I would use if I was actually teaching the class week by week. But I am glad to discuss and share the perspectives that I have and learn about the understanding or the issues that you're maybe encountering in supply chains. So, if that is there anything else, Ben, that you feel that we should be covering?
I'm not sure. I think this is about it. The rest is on the students.
That's correct. It's on the students, because that's how you learn. You learn, and in some cases, you can find periods of time that you may be frustrated with this simulation. That is the threshold upon which a lot of learning occurs, is when you break through that frustration and get the aha moment that, oh, yes, that's exactly how it works, and you move on. So with that, we'll give you back the rest of your evening, let you get back to bed, give you back about 15 minutes of your evening, and we'll end the recording after we all leave. So thank you very much for tuning in. And again, a preview of coming attractions if you want to try to tune in for tomorrow's meeting, which will essentially follow the same format. There's no real benefit for attending both unless you have additional questions or clarifications and just want the live opportunity to ask those questions and get some constructive answers. So with that, have a good evening. Ben, thank you very much. Jennifer and Grace, thank you for your participation.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Have a good
Professor.
night. Yep. Bye-bye.
Good night.